everybody? Welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I am here to give you my top 10 Marvel rival characters. Requests, I suppose, of characters who could be introduced into Marvel Rivals. I, like many others, have become enamored with Marvel Rivals. It's a game that I've been playing on and off again when I have spare time. When I'm not working or doing something or hanging out with friends or going out, if I'm at home, I'm either watching a movie or a show or playing Marvel Rivals. It's really the game I play almost the most these days whenever I decide to pick up a game. Obviously, I did a review of the game, and I haven't done a lot of reviews of a lot of games because I'm just like, the reason I don't review a lot of games so quickly is because, like, I like to take my time to play games to really have my full opinion on them. Games aren't like movies. Like, it takes time. Unless you're talking about something like a Marvel Rivals or Call of Duty or a Madden or something, where it's like, you can play through all that shit in like a couple days and boom, you got it all. But games like, you know, like a Skyrim or Witcher or anything like that, I feel like it's a disservice to try to review this shit after just playing it for a little bit, you know what I mean? So there's so many games that I haven't even reviewed on my channel just because I haven't played enough of them to feel comfortable enough reviewing. But Marvel Rivals has definitely been my game so far in 2025 that I've played the most, and I am enamored with it. I love it. I have so much fun with it. I'm strategist for life. But either way, there are so many characters and so many possibilities. And even the devs just the other day were talking about how there's so many, like, they have an endless amount of characters. So to kick this off, this isn't in any order, any particular order. This list is just my ideas of characters who they could introduce to the game, and a little briefing on like maybe how they could do it. So let's start off with Nico Minoru, Sister Grimm from The Runaways. Nico Minoru would be an easy strategist. Her ability with the Staff of One speaks for itself. And her being able to, now, I don't know if they want to mix in the fact that the Staff of One technically only allows her to cast a spell, cast any spell once. But if they want to mix that into if the devs want to mix that in, that'd be cool. Maybe not. I don't know how they would do that. But the abilities she has, and she's been in multiple games already. She's been in live action form. So Nico Minoru, she has a look to her. She has a design to her that would easily just sell, I think. Yeah, Nico Minoru to me would just be a smart and easy choice for Marvel Rivals. Like, just right off the bat, Nico Minoru and the ability she has. She even has a little bit of hand-to-hand combat ability, so she could use the staff as a weapon. There's many things you could do with that character. She could be an interesting combination of Doctor Strange-ish, maybe even a little bit of magic, like, if they want to go that direction. But yeah, Nico Minoru is one on my list. The second on my list would be Shang-Chi. Now, on the surface, Shang-Chi would just sort of be like, well, we got Iron Fist, so what's the point of Shang-Chi? But thanks to the fact that in the comics, he has the ability to multiply himself, and in the MCU, he has the 10 rings, which instantly makes him very much different than what an Iron Fist clone. With the 10 rings, it gives him range abilities. It gives him abilities to do many different things, depending on how the devs want to fucking use his abilities, depending on how the devs want to use the 10 rings. As we've seen in the Shang-Chi movie, he can use the rings to climb up stuff, he can use the rings to fly, to vault high distances. The 10 rings pretty much change up the entirety of the build for Shang-Chi if they ever wanted to use him. And that alone, introducing the character, having the MCU skins, all those, makes Shang-Chi an easy character to have. And having another character, another martial arts-ish character in the game would just be fun. It'd just add a little bit of diversity, and also those 1v1 fights with him and Iron Fist would be dope as fuck. And I've got number 3 is, now this one is something that has been said, has been put out there a couple times by a couple different people, but I still think that it's worth mentioning here, is Ant-Man and the Wasp. I can totally see Ant-Man and the Wasp being very much like a cloak and dagger type deal, where you switch between the two. Wasp flies around the map, and when you switch to Ant-Man, he's stomping around the map. Maybe he's in giant form the whole time, maybe he isn't. The only thing that'll be interesting to see is how do they manipulate them shrinking and growing, because it would be a pain in the ass to have to, like, hit a target this small. Now, granted, with how they could probably, counterbalance that is by making it whenever you shrink, your fucking health bar shrinks way down too. So although you're harder to hit, you also are easier to kill. And maybe that's what makes you switch between Ant-Man and the Wasp. Wasp is harder to hit, but but if you do hit her, she dies pretty quickly. Ant-Man is easier to hit, but he doesn't move around very quickly. Like, there's many different ways they can balance act this, but this game needs Ant-Man and the Wasp in it. It's hard to have a game with the Avengers, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and all these different characters and not have Ant-Man and the Wasp, two founding members of the Avengers, in it. Like, I don't even think they're mentioned in anything. Like, there's nothing even out there. Like, that's kind of crazy to me. Like, I feel like you have to have them in there. I don't know how you're going to do it. I don't know how you're going to pull it off and make it balanced, but you got to figure it out. Ant-Man and the Wasp have to be in this game. The next on my list is Black Bolt from the Inhumans. Black Bolt feels like an easy Vanguard to me. First of all, the dude's jacked, but that's besides the point. Black Bolt is super durable. He's super fast. He's super strong, but his main claim to fame is his supersonic voice. It is not that difficult for me to see him putting up shield-like, things, but with his voice, with him just yelling and something pops up and deflects shit. It's nothing to see that. Also, he's very mobile because he has those wings. So, he could be one of the most mobile Vanguards in the game. Very much like in the vein of a Captain America in terms of being able to move while still being a Vanguard. Maybe not go as far as have him fly, but go out as far as to have him straight up moving around the map at a certain speed while being able to use his voice to block projectiles would just make sense. Also, there's many different things you can do with that voice. His alt is so just on point with him just yelling in an entire area that's in front of him, just getting nailed with his supersonic scream. Black Bolt to me is a slam dunk. It makes perfect sense. It's a character that doesn't have a lot of shine at the moment. Black Bolt, easy money. Easy money. Next on my list would be Bishop from the X-Men. Another Vanguard in my opinion. He could be a duelist, but Bishop as a Vanguard makes a lot of sense. First of all, Bishop's abilities are just tailor-made for a game like this. He absorbs energy and redirects it however he sees fit. And he absorbs energy and redirects it. So there you go. It is not that hard to see him having a little meter, where he takes damage, where he's blocking or whatever, and he takes damage and it's building up and it's building up and it's building up, and then he could just unleash it. And maybe it enhances his regular blast that he shoots off, the more damage that he takes. But Bishop's ability to absorb energy and use it, it just feels like an obvious thing made for a game like this. Bishop also is a character who is popular but hasn't gotten the shine that I think he deserves. Like I said, I think he would be a Vanguard, but he could easily be a duelist. Coming in with another Vanguard, and this character I haven't really seen in anybody's list, but it's a character that I do think would be, characters that I do think would be freaking cool. Alright, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Can't you just see it? This dinosaur with a girl on top and just walking around the map. Now granted, you're gonna have to you can't have them be massive, but so big. But Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, it pretty much writes itself with the dinosaur having the abilities that it has, just attack and swing its tail and whatnot. Moon Girl being a technical genius, her just throwing stuff down. Maybe you can make it a bit more like a bulkier version of Penny Parker, a little bit, maybe. I don't know, maybe, but all I know is I can just see the visual of it. It feels like something that devs would have such a fun time designing for this game, and it just feels like it fits. It just feels like it fits, and I could just see it. I know you guys can see it now that I'm describing it to you, but yeah, I could definitely see some fun things with him being a really unique Vanguard, really bulky. And maybe, she can shoot things down. She can help him out. Maybe she has some abilities too. But yeah, I can see that. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur in Marvel Rivals. Coming in with another. Well, I would say this character could be a Vanguard or a duelist. But more of duelist is the Silver Samurai. Silver Samurai's ability to make things sharp, to sharpen things and to enhance weaponry is something very cool and unique, and his armor is super cool and unique. He's a very iconic villain in the Marvel pantheon, in the X-Men in particular. But also, he's fought all kinds of characters in the. But I can definitely see there being this meter where the more he kills, the sharper his blade gets, and the more damage it applies. That's the most thing I can really see out of him, and that's why I say he probably would be a duelist. Maybe on a more bulkier side because of his armor and because of his size. But yeah, Silver Samurai is another character that I think would be cool to be introduced into Marvel Rivals. Now we're getting into some other characters that like maybe not, but I honestly think Forge would be an amazing strategist for a game like this. Forge's ability to be basically a technomancer because he can talk to technology makes perfect sense. He could be this interesting combination of Ultron and Penny Parker, or he could lay down, he could maybe lay down mines himself. He could lay down healing mines. There's all kinds of things you can do with Forge. Honestly, the sky is the limit with that character, because since he's a technomancer and he makes all these different technologies through the course of the X-Men history, since that character's been around, you can almost do anything you want with him as a strategist, and it would just make perfect fucking sense. It's also a character that has a long history in the comics, so there's an insane amount of, you know, skins you can have for him. There's an insane amount of things you can do with that character. Forge to me is pretty easy as a strategist to have in the game. Like, honestly, I think it just makes perfect sense. Another Vanguard, and this is a character that has been talked about occasionally when I look around as well, is War Machine. Once again, on the surface, he seems like just be a clone of Iron Man. But anybody who knows War Machine, the War Machine armor and the War Machine character, knows that he is James Buchanan Rhodes is nothing like Tony Stark's Iron Man, in the sense that his Iron Man suit, his War Machine suit, is way more bulkier. It doesn't move around with the same speed or agility and velocity. You can easily see it being a thing where you can temporarily fly for a few seconds to just move around the map, how you want to, and you can just see it. Just this ranging Vanguard that just sponges up damage and fires off lasers and rockets and shit. I can even envision, and I know you can too, his actual ult being this being him just flying up and just unleashing rockets. I don't know, in a certain, him just air striking in an area. Like, it just, War Machine to me is a slam dunk character. I'm surprised that like there isn't anything out there about him yet. But yeah, War Machine, easy money. Easy Vanguard. And I think that, I got one more left. One more suggestion left. And this one is a little bit harder to pull off, but I just thought about it while I was creating this list of like characters I want to see in Marvel Rivals. The Spot. I think the Spot would be such a fascinating character to introduce into Marvel Rivals, because once again on the surface, the Spot just creates portals. I mean, that's what he does, but he creates small portals, big portals. His portals, the sizes of his portals completely change. The size of the Spot that he creates completely change. Like, you could easily see him being a Vanguard that creates portals where when people throw shit at you, it just goes into the portal. You can easily see it being something like that, where like he just does that. I can even see his ult being he creates a big ass fucking dot portal that just drops everybody in it, and if you're in that shit, you instantly just die. Like, there's so many things you can do with the Spot and so many ways you can go with that character, him being a Vanguard or a duelist. But I do think that character is fascinating, and I do think that that's sort of one of the outside of the box characters that you might see in Marvel Rivals. And that is my list of characters that I would like to see in Marvel Rivals. Comment below and let me know, what characters would you like to see in Marvel Rivals that maybe I didn't talk about, or maybe you talked about on your channel? Comment below and let me know. Thank you guys for joining me in the Comic Game Movie Show again. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.